welcome back to Best Life Abroad, not your average travel podcast. I am your host, Dr. Raquel, and this is a place where we talk about what it really means to uproot your life wherever you are, to plant new roots abroad, to plant them with clarity, with purpose, and with peace of mind. So today's episode is for those of you who are not moving alone. So whether you're moving with like a partner, with kids, or even your fur babies, if so, this move isn't just about what you want and what you are dreaming of. It's a whole family transition. So if you've been wondering, like, how do I start planning this move where I'm not leaving anyone behind, whether that be emotionally, practically, you are in the right place. So let's go ahead and talk about this today. All right. Now, let's be real here, okay? Because when we get excited about moving abroad, it is real easy to get tunnel vision. So we start researching the destinations, scrolling the Airbnb listing, watching all of the YouTube videos. But we really need to sit down with the people who are coming with us and see what they are looking for in their new home. Okay, so we need to really move differently and we need to plan differently when we're moving with other people. So this episode is about how to co-create your move with the people that you love, and how do you bring them into the vision and the planning and the process so that it is a journey that you all take together, not one where you're just pulling people along. Okay, so as I have shared, my family and I are making plans for our future move to Mexico. And initially, my son was like, I'm not moving to Mexico. I don't know what y'all talking about, but I'm not going. And he's 8, so he's going. But we had to really like figure out, okay, what ways can we help him to get more excited about the move? And one thing about my child, if you know him, he is a total foodie. And so we started like, of course, we're watching the videos and looking at all the information and all the things. And so we started also like watching the videos with him, helping him walk around because in every video, they're going to restaurants and the food looks amazing. So, just from like involving him in the process of like looking at the videos, seeing the things, looking at all the delicious foods all around Mexico, he is like, he'll watch videos and he'll be like, okay, all right, I'm feeling a little bit more excited about Mexico. So now he's like much, much more excited. Like when we were looking at the videos, like, oh yeah, let's look at these places and let's look at those places. Let's see what they have here. And he's much more excited about the whole process. Okay. So one of the most important things that you want to prioritize is open communication. I have talked to people who are like, my child is coming whether they like it or not. So what exactly are we talking about? But as I shared, it is a much easier and more enjoyable process when everyone is on board or at least not trying to sabotage the process. Okay, so here are a few questions that I want you to reflect on with those who are coming with you. So, have you asked your partner how they feel about the move? If you're like the main one driving this whole moving abroad situation, have you asked them like, how do you really feel about this move? But have you asked them in a manner, a tone, and location that allows them to give honest feedback? We know some of y'all will ask questions where we know that they better give us the right answer or else. And so we really need to like this is something that is a big deal. People are uprooting all that they know, all that they have known to go somewhere where they don't know much. And so asking someone to do that, you really need to make sure you're giving them open space and open communication to be able to share honestly what's going on in their mind, their heart, and their soul, because that's very important. And that can definitely impact things on the back end. You do not want someone to feel resentful once they've gotten to Zimbabwe. You want the whole group to feel excited about going to Zimbabwe so that whatever happens while you're there, you're handling it collectively, not one person be like, well, I didn't really want to come here anyway, so I have nothing to do with this. Okay, so that really can make a huge difference. Have your kids shared. What are they excited about? What are they afraid of? Somebody's excited or afraid of something. And so, like, I have talked to my kids about being excited, but I haven't really moved into the what might you be afraid of part yet. And so we are trying to transition and to start pivoting into that once we get into like the more logistical aspects of the move. Okay. Also, like, are there any unspoken concerns? Maybe there are concerns about finances that you're not really talking about yet. Maybe there are certain aspects of your identity that you're like, will we really be able to fit in? Will we really be able to belong in these specific communities? Maybe it is that you are ditching your title and you're starting something completely new. And you feel like maybe, will I be able to find my purpose in this new thing that I'm doing? So there's a lot of transition and a lot of pivots. You really want to make sure that you're talking through this. It is not just about logistics. This is emotional preparation. Moving abroad can be an emotional process. And the excitement that you feel that can also change very quickly. So you want to make sure that you're not just planning through the logistics of it all, but that you're also touching base to see what are we feeling and what are we thinking as well. Okay, so I want you to try this exercise with your family, your partner, your friends, whoever's going with you. So schedule what I call a vision chat with your people. Okay, so this will be no devices, just a casual combo. Okay, where you're asking questions like, what excites you most about the idea of moving abroad? What worries you? And you want them to give their feedback. What questions do you wish that we could answer together? What are some things that you wish you knew now that we won't really know until you get there? That will help you kind of get a better sense of some of the anxieties that people are feeling. If you've got younger kids, try vision boarding with them. So we will definitely be doing a vision board with our kids to see, like, okay, what are some of the things you're really excited about doing while we're in Mexico? Like, once we realized that where we would like to be is very close to Chichen Itza, my son was like, yes, I am super excited. We have got to go there. So we will be vision boarding, and Chichen Itza will be a picture that I'm making sure that I include in that vision boarding so that he can then include that and be excited. If you got teens, try co-creating a bucket list of things that you want to explore in your new country. So this is not just like a one-time conversation. It is really a dialogue that has to keep evolving. You have to keep it open, keep it safe, and keep it mutual. Okay. Now, if you have kids, we also need to talk about schooling and education. So if you're moving with toddlers or if you're moving with teenagers, this is still a huge piece of the puzzle. Okay. So some things that you need to be considering, of course, school types. So what types of schools would you like your kids to go to? Do you want them to go to international schools, local public schools, local private schools, bilingual schools where they are able to speak English as well as another language? Are you planning on homeschooling? What are the options and regulations around homeschooling? Are there specific entry requirements? Like, do your kids have to have certain vaccinations? Are there certain vaccination records that they need to show? That means that you need to be gathering those things now. Are there language requirements or language assessments that they'll have to take? Do they need to prove that they can speak the language of that country before they can even start? Are there application fees? What are the deadlines of when you need to be applying for these schools? Is there a specific curriculum that you would like for them to have? What type of school are they able to get that curriculum at? Okay, so that curriculum alignment, whether it be IB, whether it be a US curriculum, whether it be international curriculum, is the school culturally responsive? That is a huge one for me when I'm looking at schools. I am looking at schools that are teaching about lots of different things. I am looking at schools where I really like my kids to be outside and exploring and not just kind of sitting in a classroom for 8 hours. So that's also something that is really important for me that I'm looking at. Will your child thrive there? So I have two children, one 4, one 8. They are very, very different. And so I have to see, like, is there one place, because I would like for them to go to school together? Is there one place that they both can go to that can meet both of their needs? Okay. So one thing that I highly recommend is for you to go into Facebook groups. If you're not on Facebook, get on Facebook. Okay. Because that is where the groups are. That is where all the great information is. Go into a Facebook group for your destination that you're moving to, and you want to ask the parents in that group. Ask for real experiences. Ask for what the transition was like for their kids. Ask for what they wish they knew before they got there. Ask for what documentation they had to have. Ask how different schools handle expat kids. And don't forget about childcare. So if you're moving with little ones, you need to start researching nannies. You need to research daycares. Again, those Facebook groups, man, when I tell you they are so full of information about all the things, and they're people who already live abroad and they're like, come live this best life with us. Let me help you. I have not been in any groups where people have not been helpful. Also, like, what are local cultural expectations around kids? Like, one of the reasons why we chose Mexico was how much they embrace and celebrate children. I'm so tired of having to try to convince my children to stop being children because somebody's looking at them crazy. If you don't get out of my child's face and mind your business, I don't have kids that run around and are crazy. So them just like talking to me and asking me questions that's less than a whisper and you looking at them sideways is unacceptable to me. So I want to be in a place where children are celebrated, where they can be children, where they're not going to where I don't have to fear for their safety in their life. Like these are all things that are really important. And so those are the questions that you want to ask. Also, like, are there wait lists for the different schools that you're interested in? Are there urban centers, community centers, play centers? Are there trampoline parks? See what are the things that your kids are interested in and are they nearby? And remember, this decision impacts your child's identity formation, social development, whether they go to a place that celebrates them or stifles them, that makes them feel excited to be there versus makes them feel insecure to be there. And then also, once you know this information, like if you know that there's a language requirement, then you can start preparing them now, as opposed to having them get there, not speak the language, and then they're struggling. Nobody wants their kid to show up anywhere struggling. Okay. So you can use this knowledge that you're gaining from these different sources, these different groups, to really help your child thrive and help them to integrate into their new environment. Okay. Now, I want to shift a little bit to one of the things that I think is so often overlooked, and that is spousal transitions and the changes in like your relationship dynamics or partner transitions and the things that can change with you and your partner once you move abroad. And that can be a change for the better or a change that's not so great. So, like for example, if one partner's job is really driving this move, whether it's a remote move, a sabbatical, a transfer, or anything along those lines, what happens to the other partner? Because now this person is out, they have their new coworkers, they're meeting new people, they might have dinner dates, they might have meetings in the evenings, they might have a culture where they go out after work and go get a drink, and you are where? Where are you? You at home? What? You're not doing nothing. You're gonna wait till they come back, and then you're gonna be resentful. So these are things you really need to start thinking through now, so that you have a plan. Okay, so if we get there in your job, I know it's a much more like you're moving to Paris. You're definitely going out for drinks. You're definitely having 9 p.m. dinners, and some your partner might not be invited to. So are they gonna then quit their new job? Not necessarily. That means that there needs to be an adjustment period. So it's like, okay, I will not do X, Y, and Z from Monday through Thursday. I'll only do those things on Fridays. Or if everyone goes out on a Tuesday, I'll go out on Tuesday. But if there's another day of the week that everyone's going out, I will decline so that we can really explore and learn about our new home together. Do they want to work abroad, your partner? If you're the one that's maybe working, do they also want to work? Can they even work? I remember when we moved to Belgium, I've already shared about my experience in Germany. But when we moved to Belgium, we moved to Germany for my husband's job and we moved to Belgium for my job. And so when we moved to Belgium, we applied for, I think it might have been a family reunification was how we ended up applying for my husband's visa. But with that meant that he could not leave the country for 6 months and also that he could not work. And so it was really weird because I was like, what in the world is this? And Like, we're about to leave, like, we have plans to leave this place. Like, he can't be here for 6 months. What is this? So we ended up calling like another woman who lived in Belgium, who was also a partner of the program that I worked with. And she was able to like call the government and get them to give him a new visa. Listen, she had pull, okay, a whole boss. But that was how we ended up being able to get him a visa where he was like also like his own individual and he was not connected to my visa. And so we had no idea. These are things you just might not know. But you can start thinking through these things so that you don't have to make the mistakes that we made when we moved abroad. Can they work? That is a huge question, one that we never even thought to ask because we assumed that, of course, I'm working. Why couldn't he work? You really want to think about professionally, personally, what does that look like for you two? What are the deal breakers for you two? How do you want to explore and learn about your new home together? What are the boundaries that you'd like to set collectively? Not just one person saying, this is what we're not going to do. That is not setting the boundaries collectively. Okay. And so that's something really important that you want to think about. Also, if they are, or if you are moving into a new position, maybe you're moving into a position where you're like, okay, I'm just doing this to earn some money while I'm there, and then I'll figure out what exactly is my purpose, what brings me joy, what it is that I want to do. It's important that you really think about that and pause and think about what do I want to fill my days up with while I'm living in my new home? Because changing countries is not just about logistics. It is about creating, crafting, building the life that you want. And when you're moving with other people, you have to make sure that they have a clear understanding of what that is. Because it's real easy once you get to a new place to not really align with each other's expectations, and then there's friction. So, my expectation when I move abroad, I want to be with my family as much as humanly possible. I just imagine us frolicking, holding hands, skipping down a beach or a nice cobblestone road, sitting at cafes, eating ice creams together, going to explore new restaurants, having a dessert together late at night in the streets, listening to music together as we walk through the streets, holding hands and skipping. This is what I'm envisioning. My family doesn't know that. They don't know about all this skipping that I'm envisioning. Okay. But realistically, I just want us to spend as much time together as humanly possible, which is not possible for us at the moment in the United States. And so I see my kids only a few hours a day, realistically, when we're not like rushing to try to get to school or to something. I cherish my weekends. I really don't ever want to do anything with anyone ever on a weekend. The reason for that is because I have so little time with my family during the week that I really just want to soak it all up with them on the weekend. So it's so hard for me to commit to things that are happening on a weekend because I know it's taking me away from that. And so I have already very clearly, although I haven't clearly communicated all the skipping, I have very clearly communicated to my family what it is that I would like to have, and we are all on the same page. We just want to go, hang out together, and have fun together. So, what that means is that if we go into an environment where there are responsibilities that are pulling us away, then we need to start setting boundaries for that. And then also, like, there are pivots that we are making professionally. And with those professional pivots, we have to really explore, like, what is this role going to be? Who will be leading logistics? Who will be leading things with the kids? Who will be really focusing on financial things? And figuring out what that means really early and how that really impacts us as a family, how we want to build our community, our village together in our new place. All of that is really focusing on the purpose of ourselves, our individual purpose, our individual passions, our individual priorities, and how that connects to everyone who's moving together. Okay. If you are leaving a job that you've done for maybe the last 20 plus years. There is a grieving process for sure. I can tell you from personal experience, I have been in a specific type of a role for over 20 years. And so the first time that the school year started and I was not connected to some type of educational institution, it was like, hold on, what is happening? That's not me. But then there was also a joy, like, hold on, the freedom. That's not me, So it can go both ways, but give yourself space to really grieve the changes, grieve leaving a job, grieving certain routines, certain norms, things that you have always that have come second nature. You're not doing those things anymore. So you need to make space for that. Okay. Now we're going to talk about all of y'all pet lovers with all of these cute little fur babies. This section is for you. Now, if you are bringing your pets abroad, of course, this is completely doable, but it is going to take more planning than bringing children abroad. Okay, let's just be clear. Here's what you need to check. You need to check airline regulations. Can they fly in the cabin? Can they fly in the cargo? With which carriers can they fly? It is possible that you can register them so that they can be an assistance to you. And so if that's the case, then they may be able to go in more places than they would otherwise. Okay. I know some of y'all whose fur baby situation is definitely better than my children's. So you really want to make sure if you are one of those people, that means you have certain requirements that you would like to see for your fur babies. So you really want to start thinking through those early. Okay. And also some countries require things like microchipping, vaccinations, waiting periods. I have definitely had experiences where people who I've been working with are like, oh, snap, I can't bring my dog for the next 30 days. And they are like losing it. So you really want to make sure that you know those things in advance. There are quarantining laws. So some places also require pets to be quarantined a certain period of time before they are able to go with their owners. Also, pet passports. Yes, there is a such thing as a pet passport. Please book your vet appointments now. You will need proper documentation. You will need export certificates. You may even need a behavioral assessment depending on the airline. So the airline knows that your pet is not going to tear their stuff up. So you want to think ahead. You want to think about where you're going to be living abroad. Are pets allowed in your rental if you're renting? What is the local vet care scene like? Are people bringing their animals to restaurants? Are they off leash at parks? What are these cultural norms around pets? So your fur baby deserves a safe and happy transition, just like everyone else in the family. So you have to really start thinking through those things in advance. Okay. This is not, I've said it, I will say it again. This is not just a logistical move. And you don't want everyone else to be thriving and then your fur baby to be depressed because they've been in quarantine for the last 30 days without you. Hey, I know my parents' dog, whenever they are away from him, he stops eating. He's like, nope, I'm going on a fast until my parents return. So it's not just emotional for humans, it can also be emotional for our pets as well. Each member of your family may go through their own version of grief, excitement, confusion, curiosity, and it may not happen in the same timeline, and it may not show up in the same way as maybe what you've seen before. But here's what helps. It helps when you figure out how you create like closure rituals. So things that are meaningful, but meaningful ways of like saying goodbye. So whether that be things like memory boxes, a goodbye party, last time visits to like favorite places, maybe drawing pictures or giving gifts to people. So you want to name the transition, whatever it is, talk openly about what you're leaving behind, and then think about how you can create a special like transition around it or tradition around it to be able to then kind of close that chapter and move forward. And most importantly, you really want to make space for joy. It can be so easy to get just wrapped up in like all the things and all you have to do and all the people you have to consider and all the logistics and the planning and the research. But let's keep it light when it can be, because most of these things you can keep light. Even when you're like purging your home or like cleaning out things, you can keep that light. It can be an emotional process already. Like every single time I try to get my children to get rid of stuffies, somebody has a breakdown. And then I realized, talking to a friend, like maybe it's because I'm trying to get them to get rid of five stuffies at a time. Let's start with one. Okay, y'all have a stuffy that has a hole in the stuffing coming out. Does anybody have that? If so, throw it through this basketball hoop and we're going to get rid of it. Okay, so just trying ways to figure out ways to try to keep things light when they can be. Watching movies, for example, about the new country that you want to move to, trying new food before you get there, learning different phrases and things to say together. I started getting lots more Spanish books out of the library so that my kids are starting to really learn how to speak Spanish. And it's been great. It's like my Spanish teaching days all over again. I love it. It's so much fun for them. It's so much fun for me. And this is a family story in the making. So you really need to leave space for each person to co-author their own section of the story. You can't create the story for your children. You can't create the story for your partner. The only person whose story you're creating is yours. So how you show up in their story, that's up to you to decide how you want to show up. Okay. So you really, really want to consider those things. Okay. Here is your move abroad assignment for this week. You need to sit down with your loved ones and co-create a moving together plan. Okay, so this will include like one family ritual that you'll do before you leave. So if that's like, okay, we love going to this park and hanging out and doing X, Y, and Z, then you will do that before you leave. Like that will be the last thing that y'all do. If it's like, oh, we love going to this amusement park, we will go to that amusement park 2 days before we leave. So it's figuring out exactly what is that thing that you want to do to kind of create closure. One priority each person has for their new country. So, what is one thing that each person really wants to do? I know my son wants to go to Chichen Itza. I also really want to go to Chichen Itza. So, what are the things that you really want to do in your new country? And start making a list, things that are feasible. Now, he also would like to go see his best friend, whose family is from like 8 hours away from where we plan on moving to. That's not happening. Y'all can meet in the United States when we come visit, but we're not going there. Okay. So you want to think about like realistic things that you can do in your new country that they can look forward to. And also one worry that they want support with. What is the one thing that's really making them struggle? Is it like, how will I make friends at my new school? Well, let's figure out how you can really lean into the language. One of the fastest ways to be able to build community is by learning the language of the country that you're living in. Maybe thinking about one dream that they hope comes true. Like, I really would love to be able to experience like Dia de los Muertos. I am so excited about the Dia de los Muertos in Mexico. I don't even know. I can't even explain my excitement. I am so excited about this. This is like a dream come true. And so like several years ago, I convinced my family to start celebrating Dia de los Muertos. And so to be able to like do it in Mexico is like whew, bucket list. So think about things that you are really, really have been dreaming about and how do you really make those come true? And then also write it down, put it somewhere. That's why vision boarding is such like an easy way to kind of keep the dream visible. Because I'm not like my daughter can't even read, so I'm not writing of like notes and books and bullets. But the way we write it down is through pictures. She has a checklist for every day after she comes home from school. She does her checklist. She hangs up her coat, puts away her lunchbox, empties it out, hangs up her book bag, changes her clothes, washes her hands. None of that is with words. They are all pictures. And she knows what each picture means, and she does that. So it's a way of really documenting what it is that you all want to do. If you have kids who can read, write it down with words. Do a checklist. Help them write it down. Put it somewhere where you all can see it and see it often. So you can all get excited and be on the same page about what you're looking forward to with your move. Okay? So that's it. Thank you for spending time with me today. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with a friend or family member who may also be on this journey to moving abroad. But don't forget, subscribe to the Best Life Abroad newsletter. You can go to my website, www.yourbestlifeabroad.com, so you never miss any of the tips, the tools, and the moments of encouragement that I share. So until next time, please keep taking steps towards your best life abroad. And I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.